All right, this is me back in July 2025. I was 336.6 pounds, fat, definitely a fatty liver, out of shape, bad cardiovascular health, eating like an asshole. I was drinking every night, like whiskey, out of control. Not exercising, clearly. Um, yeah, it was just wildly out of control. Don't really know what happened. It's not atypical for me. I'm ex-military, super athletic most of my life. Sports, cycling, long distance cycling, running, weightlifting, all the normal uh, activities you would expect from somebody in that area. And then, I don't know, probably 5 years ago, maybe a little more, I just stopped doing that. And again, the drinking and eating and really kind of just ignoring myself. I decided that I wanted to take a GLP-1, so I started researching just what options were out there, medical, insurance coverage, all that type of stuff. And I stumbled across Retatrutide in that kind of that search online, and new kid on the block, middle of clinical trials, and rapidly available in the gray market. So I made a decision then, after talking with my wife, that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do Retatrutide. So I started doing more, gray market research, how to find the peptides, and that's when I made my first fairly expensive mistake. At least I think almost a rite of passage now at this point for everybody who goes down this path of spending too much money on a domestic source. I spent about $1,500 on just a few vials. Justified it by calculating co-pays and deductibles and all the stuff that we got to deal with healthcare in the U.S. and justified it saying, I'd rather just pay out of pocket for this versus deal with the hassle of the medical insurance and all that cost when it will be about the same. So I purchased that, and then come to find out that I should have purchased it from China, just direct from China. So that's what I've done is I now purchase all of it. I've done bulk purchases, and my personal stash and my freezer is fairly full. So that price difference is extreme. It is definitely predatory what's happening in the domestic peptide space for the most part. And it's the same stuff, right? So they're all ordering from China, bring it in, import it, slap a label on it, do a few tests, post a COA, and then take your credit card. So, yeah, it's definitely the way to go. There's a sourcing guide in my description if you're interested. Get you in touch with the same source that I use. Recently just finished, I did the last batch that I ordered was back in December. That was off at Finnrich for a long time. This week I got a video where I did post, and I'll just post it in here too, just the results of that. So it came back near perfect. So it's 99.8% purity, no over or underfill, and almost a perfect score with Finnrich in that test, that regard. So yeah, so I think that's the way to go. That Finnrich test took quite a long time though, so it is free. It's a resource available to anybody. You just need to create an account with Finnrich and then fill out a form and ship them your vial. It is destructive, so you lose a vial. So when I say no cost, you've got the cost of shipping, you've got the cost of the $20 vial or the $10 vial or whatever size you buy to get tested. You sacrifice that, it's gone. It's lost in the testing process. So yeah. So stats for this week. We're in the middle of week 30, or we're at the end of week 30 now. So week 30 is finished up. Coming into the 7th month now. I weighed in this morning at 248.4 pounds. So that's actually an increase. So that's a 2.2 pound increase from last week. So that puts me at a total of 88.2 pounds lost over the differential for going back up. But interestingly enough, my waist was reduced by 0.19 inches. So that measured in this morning at 36.85. And I did that about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches. I got a little mark on my gut that I use as a benchmark to set the measuring tape. I use a digital tape measure. There is a link in the description for the exact one that I use for that. So that's just on Amazon. I think it's like $20 or something. Visceral fat stayed the same according to the scale, so it stayed at a 9 on their benchmark testing metric. So yeah, fat mass says, scale's kind of all over the place, says gain 0.2 pounds of fat and 1.8 pounds of muscle. That's not believable. Body fat percentage with all of that change went down by 0.2%. So that's just a question of more lean and, you know, fat percentage changing. So it's all kind of in flux. Clearly holding water. You'll be able to see that in the pictures when we go through those next. But clearly holding more water in my midsection. And when we break down the water, which I didn't talk about here, but on the scale report, it's just evident that it's pure water, right? So if you remember last week, I talked about I was focusing on water intake. So I increased my water intake, and I think that induced a slight water flush towards the latter part of the week. That is what I think I'm seeing is the rebound from that back to like an overcorrection, if you will. So with last week's week 28, so 2 weeks ago, I had 2 massive weeks back to back. So week 28 was 3.8 pounds lost, and then week 29 was 2.6 pounds lost. So those are pretty big back-to-back weeks for me. But with the there was a lot of water fluctuation in week 29 report. So again, seeing more water fluctuation this week is what it is, right? So all I can do is step on the scale. I only step on the scale once a week. Occasionally, if I'm antsy, I will get on there on Friday night to see what I'm supposed to wake up at, I guess, just as a can't wait for Christmas morning kind of situation. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Weight loss isn't linear. So my waist is down. I feel slimmer. I don't feel particularly bloated. I look bloated, especially midsection. But hey, best I can do is just keep continuing on with what's been working for the last 30 weeks, and try not to go crazy and change a bunch of things, because that's probably the worst thing you can do, especially since everything in your body takes weeks and months to change. So I'm just going to continue on the path that I have been, same dosages with everything. So we'll get into some progress photos here. Front here. Again, I'm not super happy with picking my bedroom. I say that every week, but I picked it at the beginning side. It's too much natural light. I just look the same every week to me. I just don't really look any different. Back. And then I do take some photos. So I'll put up some additional photos from the bathroom. Just less of that natural light coming in. Front here. Side. So I don't really think it looks too much worse, better or worse, really, from last week. Looks about the same to me. I don't really notice that much different. So back. A little bit of a bicep flex here. So yeah, I mean that's progress. I don't think I don't think I've gained fat. That's pretty clear. It's water. So we'll go from there. Stack wise, I'm looking at fairly simple. If you've been following my blog or the channel from the start, you know I've had much more complex stack than this, but I think this is the core things that have been working for me. So that's what's in the stack now. So 12 milligrams of Reta on Monday. So Monday mornings I do 12 milligram injection of Retatrutide. A lot of people are going to say, holy cow, that's a lot. It is, but I wanted to see what the maximum dose would do. Numbers in all the clinical trials indicate more is better for Reta. I don't really have any side effects, and truth be told, I don't really notice any more additional benefits outside of like 8 milligrams. So that was, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm still kind of debating on starting my regression backwards on Reta. So just purely as a, if I don't see a difference, why take that much? So it's been a few weeks now. I don't necessarily notice any more benefit, and I don't have any more side effects. I've been fairly lucky in that regard. No real constipation or anything like that for me. The only GI issues I had were very early in the beginning, first few weeks, and then after that it's been fine and regular. On top of the Reta, I've got five IUs of HGH. So I brought that in as a replacement to Tessa. So it's kind of a science experiment. Basically, I took Tessa in between 2 DEXA scans and tracked just the differential fat, like how much fat was lost during that period. Basically, everybody online tells you, you know, Tessa expensive. You might as well just do HGH. So that's what I'm doing. So when I finished up that 12-week period, I jumped on HGH. I've had dosing issues. I've had water retention. I've had blood pressure issues. I've had a lot of issues that I never saw with Tessa. So right now, HGH is pretty low for me as far as effective fat loss, I should say. Recovery from the gym, fantastic. Basically, wake up the next day and ready to go with no soreness, nothing really. I mean, it's just as if brand new. So that's interesting. I take 150 milligrams of testosterone cypionate. I originally started that with SubQ. I have a prescription for that for Alpha MD. They are my primary source for testosterone. I do have alternative sources that I use for backup vials. I don't like single points of failure, so I do maintain additional vials of tested testosterone, so I know it's pure and the quantities are right. It's not underdosed. So yeah, the SubQ injections I did not like. I did them for about 10 weeks. And sometimes they would leave little knots in the layer of fat. That I don't like that. One of them has never gone away and probably won't. So who knows? Created some scar tissue or something in there, and it's just, you know, hard mass now at this point. So I've switched to intramuscular injections, and when I switched to intramuscular, I switched to just splitting it in half. So Monday and Thursday are my injection days for testosterone, and I just do 75 milligrams each each injection. And the last thing in the stack is GHK-Cu. That stuff is pretty amazing. I was a little skeptical about it, but I've seen a lot of skin benefits. I've seen my hair not as gray. I've seen just a lot of benefits. I mean, anti-inflammatory as well. It's been great. I think it's one of the top peptides that I've done, and I think I will keep it, not even cycling it in the mix for quite a while. I buy that from a very easy source to buy, and I mix it from raw. So I don't buy that from the same source that I get my Retatrutide and other peptides from. I just buy 1 gram of raw powder and I mix it. And then of course I filter it with PS filters, syringe filters, into clean vial, a 10 milliliter vial. That gives me, weeks and weeks worth of dosage. So I don't have to do that very often. Yeah, so looking at an index card here, that's why I keep looking down today. Stack. Yeah. It's looking, I will say that I am a bit discouraged with the scale, and I think it's more just like an exhausted, like it's been 7 months, right? So again, this is the longest, hardest cut, so to speak, that I've ever done in my life. And it's frustrating that I'm not done yet. So just like any human, I'm sure I want it to go faster than it's supposed to go, and it will go as fast as it needs to go, I think. So I need to realize that sometimes more than others, and just deal with the emotional side effects of, hey man, you've lost like 80 some odd pounds, you're looking trim, you're lifting weights every day. In general, you've plussed your health by, plus 10 on health, So, yeah. New subscribers, holy cow. Freaking 209 of you joined the subscriber list this week. That's pretty crazy to me. So, that's encouraging. That takes some of the sting out of the emotional the emotional backlash from the scale laughing at me this week. So I appreciate all the support that I get. All the comments are fun, especially even the emails. So there's a few of you that like to send comments via email, and that's perfectly fine. You can do that on retatrutidelog.com. I'll have a contact form on there. Starts an email chain from us, and at that point it's just email, right? So I'm happy to answer any question. If I'm not comfortable, I'm not going to answer it, right? I'll just tell you, no, sorry, I'm not going to do that, or can't help you. If I can help, I will help. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out. Just keep in mind, I'm not a doctor, so I'm just a dude. I've got opinions about everything. So if you ask me, I'll give you my opinion, and it may not be what you want to hear, but I'm going to tell you what I think, and probably be a little more honest than most would be with you. But that's always fun to get those emails too. The other piece I have is today I should have another 30 milligram kit coming in, and along with some more HGH. That was quite a while. I think we're sitting at just over 2 weeks, maybe a couple days over 2 weeks for total shipping time. So it took about a week to go the new route. So there's a new route that they've been processing orders from China to the US. I'm pretty sure it's on a boat. Could be wrong, but it's usually taking about a week to get from China to the US, which is then being handed off to FedEx ground. And then with all the snow and weather and all the craziness with shippers just refusing to process anything towards the East Coast. I'm not on the East Coast, but it is affecting all routes. So I got a notification from FedEx yesterday that delivery. I should expect delivery today, midday. I am testing that kit as well. So this time I'm paying for a private test lab, and I've already made contact with them. I'm using Freedom for the testing procedure. I'll leave a link to their website in the description as well. But it's going to cost approximately, not approximately, but the price is going to be $200 for the purity test, and then you can add on like quantity. So how many milligrams are actually in there, so the over-under fill for an additional 25 if you lump it with your other test, right? It's different pricing if you just do that type of test. So, but the advantage of paying is the speed and the turnaround, right? So quoted times once they receive it as between 24 and 48 hours of COA returned back to them, and I'm sure that's all dependent, right? So if I send it to them, it doesn't get there till Friday, they're probably not going to test it till Monday, right? So that's, and I don't know, maybe they do work on the weekends, but most people aren't working the weekend, right? So so that'll be interesting to see. I'm really curious to see how fast it goes. I've already made contact with them. They said no issues talking about the procedure. So far it's been a simple email form on their website, and letting them know what I wanted to do, and then a simple price quote. Told them I wanted to move forward, and they sent me 2 PDFs to fill out. One's just a standard credit card intake form, and then the other is just what test you want, right? So you selected peptide, and then you've got a list of tests that you can perform on that peptide. They only test peptides, they don't test HGH, so that's off the table. So it's looking like the only game in town that tests HGH is going to be Jetto. So, and that's super duper expensive. That's, you know, $450+ to do an HGH test. So again, I'm probably not going to be testing HGH anytime soon. It'd be interesting to see the results, but given that the price is like $90 a kit, I can't imagine paying $450 for something that, I don't know. Who knows? I'm willing to take the risk, I guess. Clearly, maybe I should get it tested, but I probably have no plans to do that. Maybe it's something I'll do. I think we can turn on memberships at a certain point. I think we're just waiting on hours, like watch time hours. Maybe it's something to do for like private members only thing, is we just pool resources and then just send off tests if anybody's interested in that. Maybe that's something we do. I don't know, just thoughts inside my head. Just to kind of offset, we've essentially have a decentralized group testing kind of set up here with the way this channel's been going lately. So that kind of just piggybacks onto it and offload some of that cost. And I know a lot of people are ordering the HGH from them, so maybe they'd be interested to know. Who knows? So daily vlogs will continue next week. I have no intentions to stop those. I really kind of enjoy them. I am trying to coordinate with a newer gym. It's under construction, so I will be changing gyms in the near future. So we'll be able to film a little bit different style. I won't have to always be in my car, I guess. I just don't like filming in Planet Fitness unless there's nobody in there, and that's kind of, I don't know, I just feel awkward. Especially since I've been going there for a while, and then all of a sudden I bust out a small tripod or something, or magnet mount, just weird looks. So maybe I should just get over it and do it, but kind of reserving that for the new place because it's new, right? So that'll just be the norm for when I'm there, and it won't be a saturation of that. It'll just be very selective. I don't think you guys want to see me doing every single workout. So but try and spice up the content maybe a little bit, but keep it the same, because you obviously subscribe for a reason. So not trying to reinvent the wheel here, and just try and give you some information about what I'm doing, what peptides I'm on, how the progress is going. You get the good weeks like last week where I've got, 2.6 pounds of fat loss, and I've got 2.2 pounds of water gain this week. So you get good and the bad. I'm not gonna sugarcoat my results for this, because what's the point? So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this week's week 30 roll up. I appreciate the time that you took to watch this. It definitely is encouraging to see, and I look forward to seeing everybody Monday, and I will see everybody Monday morning at 4:50 in the morning. Thanks for watching.